So what's the process for settling a personal injury case? Hey folks, I'm Brooks Derrick, a personal injury lawyer in Simpsonville, South Carolina. So we're gonna break this into 3 simple steps. The first step in this process is to get all of your records together. And this includes all the people or all the providers that you've seen since your injury. So that could be the ER, that could be your primary care physician, the physical therapist, all of those things. Any lost wages, so if you missed work, you may want to get a letter from your employer. Put all of that stuff together, send that off to the insurance adjuster. Whoever you've been dealing with at State Farm or Allstate or Progressive, send that stuff off to them. Give them a little bit of time to digest all of the information that you've sent to them. And then the second step is after you've presented all of that stuff to them, is then you start to negotiate. I like to talk about these things as buckets. And one of your buckets in this situation is your bucket of medical bills. And so you want to make sure that the insurance adjuster is accounting for every single penny of medical bills that are in that bucket. And in our example right now, the next bucket would be your lost wages. So if you missed 2 weeks of work, or maybe you missed 4 or 5 weeks of work periodically and going to physical therapy or things like that, you want to have all of that information together and then make sure that the insurance adjuster is filling up that bucket. Every penny that you've lost, and that includes paid time off or time off that you weren't paid for, you want to make sure they're accounting for every single penny of that. And then the third bucket in our example here is making sure they're accounting for what you perceive to be your pain and suffering. So how long has this been going on? Are you better now? What do you think this bucket is worth, right? And then using those 3 buckets, you're going to negotiate in the second step. And this is where you're going to try to figure out, okay, can me and the State Farm adjuster, or can me and Progressive get on the same page or get close to the same page? So the third step in all of this, after you've come to somewhat of an agreement about the number, is to get money and then sign a release. And the important thing here is once you accept money and sign the release, for your purposes, it's important because you're getting that money, right? But for the insurance company's purposes, it's important for them because it stops your future claims about this car crash. So you want to make sure that when you're putting together all your documentation, you're not leaving anything out, because if you do leave stuff out in step 1 and they don't account for it in step 2, you can't get it in step 3. And once you sign that release, you can never go back and try to get it again. That is kind of in a nutshell what the process looks like to settle a case. Obviously, there's tons more that goes into this, but from a very basic standpoint, at its most basic sense, it's the same 3 things, right? It's get all your documents together, send them off, negotiate, and get your money.